My Ace Attorney experience might be a little different than yours, because I'm sure when you were playing the game, you didn't have to talk like this half the time.
AJ Review.
Welcome back, Classic Crew, to a first impression of a video game. Finally, another Capcom game in my experience log. I finally got around to playing Ace Attorney, as it was one of the recommended games in the 12 days of Hey Jay. This is a game I've wanted to play for a long time, but there was just always so many better games to play, which seems to be a common theme with the Capcom games. But since the Monster Hunter journey has begun, I have been really racking up so many Capcom games under my belt. I'm kind of tempted to pledge to just play all the Capcom games ever made, because at this rate, I'm going through all of them anyways. That's not a pledge, by the way. Don't hold me accountable to that. So I got the Ace Attorney trilogy, the Phoenix Wright trilogy on Steam, so that's what I was playing it on. And you know, I knew most of the memes of like objection and all that, so I kind of knew what I was getting into. And I was always interested in the game, so there's not many surprises here. So I just really want to share with what was my experience with it. One thing I did not know about Ace Attorney is just how freaking good the music is. Like every time any music is playing at any point, I'm like, oh my god, this is pumping me up. I'm freaking in court, and I feel great about this. I do like how the whole system works. You know, I was always confused. I was always worried that it would be like a little bit too meticulous to like have to zero in on what it is that you have to show evidence for, or that it would have been too subtle. I think for the most part, what I've played so far, so I played the first 2 episodes of the first game, the balance has been okay, but some things are a little stretched out that aren't as intuitive. So like the first case is about your best friend's ex-girlfriend got murdered after she traveled from Paris, and you're trying to figure out what to do. And I was doing all right for the most part. And then the last thing that we had to prove was prove that the clock was late on the day of the murder. And my first instinct was, well, there was a blackout, so let's do that. But no, you were supposed to use the passport because you would infer that she brought the clock with her and set it to the time in Paris, which was not intuitive because the passport is a US passport. The game never says where we are in the US at any point, because the game was originally made for Japan and that was localized to the West. So when I was looking at the passport, and at first I was trying to calculate like, well, if she was in Paris, what time would it have been? And I was like, well, there's nothing, the game doesn't tell me what time zone I would be in the US. There's 3 time zones to consider. And so that got me all messed up. And I guess I was thinking too far. People are like, you know, you're just supposed to think, oh, Paris, US, time zone difference, time. That's what it was. So that one threw me off. But the second case was a lot better, where you're basically going after the killer of your boss, which that was tragic. I was not expecting my boss. Like the first character you get introduced to, I'm like, okay, elder sister waifu, I'm all down for this. And then I'm like starting to like, you know, you're starting to build a connection. Oh, she taught me so well in my first case. And then bam, they take her away from you. And I was like, oh man, this thing's cold. The game is cold. So that was like raising the stakes right away. Like you're a junior lawyer. I thought Phoenix Wright, you play as a like veteran lawyer, but I guess you work your way up. The cast of characters was fantastic. Otherwise, I really like how everyone's introduced. I do think the artwork at this stage feels a little not as polished as it could be. I don't know if that gets better with the franchise. I would assume so. There's not a lot of sprite difference either, but again, this is an old game. I didn't realize how old the Ace Attorney franchise was. I think this game was made in like 2002, which is, oh my god, that's 20 years ago. So it's about time I get on this train. The second case went well. This is where I think my experience became unique, because the chat was asking me to start impersonating the voices. And of course, they decided to ask this when it was the lady of the night who was on screen. You're the lawyer, aren't you? The detective told me. He said, don't say nothing to that lawyer, pal. Memo to self, thank Detective Gumshoe for making my job harder. Gee, this is all like something out of a movie. It's all so exciting I can hardly contain myself. And so if I was going to do it for her, I had to give all the other characters. So like the old judge, I gave him an old voice, and like I'm not a voice actor by any means. So I don't think I was consistent through it. I learned I cannot do a high-pitched voice very often. I use my normal voice for Phoenix Wright, but it was fun. It was a fun time to just hang out with Chad and you know. Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's French for kiss, sir, but not a French kiss, sir. More of a peck on the cheek. Why would she have done that? I believe perhaps she was momentarily swayed by my prim demeanor, sir. Which was a moment I shall never, ever forget, sir. Sounds pretty fishy to me. I think our Miss May was up to something and wanted the bellboy to remember her. It's no good. There's nothing there. Is that it? Tusk, tusk. Finally. You understand. Where's that noise? What's it to you? Oh, wait, wrong voice. What's it to you, porcupine head? That stupid clock doesn't matter, okay? She did it. She should die for it. Die. Just play around with the characters. The court, when like you're going back and forth with Phoenix Wright though, and I was like playing in character, it really pumps you up. I'm like, objection, and I'm just like, I got some papers right here. I love that animation so much where he's like, and it was just kind of like going back and forth. That's where you meet your, I guess, arch nemesis Miles Edge. Everybody called him Edgelord, so I'm trying to remember what his real name was. Edgeworth, I think. Fantastic rival / nemesis. I just really enjoyed those characters. I want to see more of that, and I want to do some more. I love the animation of the paper where he's just like, I found some evidence right here. It's just so like the face is perfect. I love it. It's exactly the type of game I was expecting, just with some better features. And I think this is a game I will want to keep playing with the stream, just because it was so fun to get into characters and just, you know I'm not good at it, which I think just makes it more fun and just being silly with everybody. So that is another game to add to the 2022 backlog. Another game. I think half the games I played in the 12 days of Hey Jay, yeah, half of them I'm going to be continuing into 2022. Actually, more than half. So a lot of the game recommendations were right up my alley, and I really appreciate all of you for recommending all these games. So I'll see you on a future stream or on the next video, and until next time, keep it classy. Do 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 do. Subscribe.